Nestled within the embrace of towering mountains lies the small town of Maplewood, a serene haven characterized by its rustic charm and breathtaking landscapes. This idyllic setting, with its quaint wooden cabins and meandering dirt paths, paints a picture of a community deeply entwined with nature. The air is crisp and invigorating, filled with the scent of pine trees and wildflowers that blossom in every season. As one walks through the narrow streets lined with blooming gardens, it's impossible not to feel a sense of tranquility that comes with living so close to untouched wilderness. Maplewood is more than just a picturesque town. It's also home to a diverse array of wildlife that roams freely in the surrounding forests. Deer graze peacefully in sunlit clearings, while birds chirp merrily from their nests concealed among the leaves. The townspeople have long understood the delicate balance between coexistence and respect for nature. Children often play under the watchful eyes of their parents, who are mindful of the occasional bear sighting or mountain lion crossing through their backyard. However, these encounters are less terrifying to them and more a reminder of the wild spirit that inhabits their world. In this close-knit community lives Jack Thompson, an unassuming man known for his gentle disposition and affinity for animals. Jack has spent his life here in Maplewood, where he works as a carpenter, crafting beautiful furniture that reflects the beauty of his surroundings. His love for nature runs deep. He often spends his weekends hiking up rugged trails or fishing in crystal-clear lakes that shimmer under the sun's golden rays. But little does he know that fate has an extraordinary encounter awaiting him. One fateful evening, while returning from his usual fishing expedition, Jack takes a path less traveled through a dense thicket near the forest's edge. As he navigates through briars and thick underbrush, he hears an unusual sound, a pitiful whimper echoing through the trees. Curiosity piqued, he presses on until he stumbles upon a heart-wrenching sight. A young bear trapped in a tangle of roots and branches, clearly distressed and alone. Jack's heart races as he assesses the situation. There's no mistaking the urgency in its eyes. Bears are typically solitary creatures known for their strength and independence, yet this one appears vulnerable and frightened. Without hesitation, Jack approaches slowly, speaking softly to calm it down while carefully maneuvering to free it from its entrapment. The bear looks up at him with a mixture of fear and trust, a moment that will forever alter both their lives. After an arduous struggle to untangle its limbs from nature's grasp, Jack finally manages to free the bear. Exhausted but relieved, he watches as it takes its first steps away from danger. To his surprise, instead of running off into the distant woods, the young bear lingers hesitantly around him as if unsure whether to stay or flee. It's in this moment, amidst towering pines against a backdrop of mountains, that an unlikely bond begins to form between man and beast, setting into motion a series of events neither could have ever predicted. As Jack stood there, breathless after freeing the young bear from its tangled prison of roots and branches, a mix of emotions coursed through him. The forest, once alive with the muted sounds of nature, seemed to hold its breath in anticipation, leaving an eerie silence that hung between man and beast. He watched as the bear, trembling slightly but now free, took its cautious first steps away from him. There was a wild beauty in the creature's movements, a grace that belied its strength, yet it hesitated, glancing back at Jack with wide, wary eyes. Instinctively, Jack felt a surge of protectiveness for this vulnerable creature. How long had it been trapped? What dangers had it faced alone out here? These thoughts raced through his mind as he knelt down to appear less threatening, extending a hand slowly as if inviting trust. "Hey there," he murmured softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's okay. You're safe now." To his astonishment, instead of fleeing into the safety of the woods, the bear paused and sniffed the air tentatively. It appeared to recognize Jack not just as a rescuer but as something more, a hint of companionship perhaps, for the bond they shared at that moment was unspoken yet profound. The bear's large brown eyes seemed to convey gratitude intertwined with uncertainty. It was as if they were communicating in a language beyond words. The minutes stretched like hours as Jack maintained his gentle demeanor. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a snack he had packed for himself, a few granola bars, breaking one in half and offering it slowly toward the bear. After taking a tentative step closer, curiosity piqued over hunger, the bear cautiously inched toward Jack's outstretched hand. With fingers trembling slightly from excitement and fear alike, he held his breath until finally, the bear tilted its head and gingerly grabbed the piece of food with its powerful jaws. For Jack, this moment was transformative. He felt an inexplicable connection to this wild creature. His heart swelled with an emotion he could scarcely name, a blend of joy and an urge to nurture. Just as easily as he had given up part of his snack to the bear, he understood that he wanted to give so much more: safety, companionship, care. After finishing off the granola bar with surprising speed for such a sizable creature, the young bear looked at Jack once again, this time with less trepidation and more curiosity. It approached him further and sniffed at his boots before stepping back cautiously, as if it were still considering whether to approach or retreat into the shadows of the trees. The sun began to dip low on the horizon behind the mountains, casting long shadows through the forest. Jack knew that nighttime would bring new dangers for both him and the bear if they remained in uncertain territory. With careful movements and soft tones meant to soothe any fears lingering in the young bear's mind, Jack began to take steps toward home, a humble cabin built with love amidst these beautiful mountains. The bear followed closely at a distance initially but soon matched Jack's pace as if drawn by an invisible thread tethering them together. A thread woven from instinctive understanding and empathy forged in that single life-altering encounter amidst towering pines and rustling leaves. As they walked side by side through fading light toward an unpredictable future together, both sensed that something extraordinary was about to begin, a journey neither could have anticipated yet both desperately needed. As Jack walked alongside the young bear, a swirl of thoughts and emotions whipped through his mind. He had never considered the possibility of forming such a bond with a wild animal. Yet, with every step they took together, he felt more certain that this was not merely an act of kindness, it was a defining moment in his life. The bear, once a frightened creature at the brink of despair, had now become a part of his world, a flicker of hope in his heart that begged for nurturing. Jack paused for a moment, stealing a glance at the bear, who now seemed more relaxed than before. Its movements were tentative but curious, revealing an innocence that resonated deeply within him. Memories flooded back. He thought about his childhood, days spent exploring the woods near his family cabin. He remembered spending hours observing animals from afar and feeling an undeniable connection to them. Perhaps this experience was reminiscent of those fleeting moments when he silently admired nature's beauty. His instincts told him that failing to help the bear would leave a haunting void in his conscience. This realization pressed heavily on him. It pulled at the strings of compassion woven into his character since childhood. Jack had always been drawn to animals. His friends and family often teased him about bringing home strays, abandoned cats, injured birds, and even the rare injured deer. In every case, he found joy in saving those in need, nurturing their spirits until they were ready to return to their rightful homes. Yet this situation felt different. The enormity of the decision ahead weighed on him like never before. How could he possibly take care of a bear? The implications raced through his mind. Would it thrive in captivity? Would it feel trapped and unfulfilled? These questions gnawed at him as he deliberated on what was truly best for the young bear. But despite these concerns lurking in the background, something deeper anchored Jack's resolve, his belief that every life deserves a chance. As they neared his cabin, nestled comfortably among swaying pines and vibrant wildflowers, Jack's protective instincts kick-started thoughts on safety and care for this newly formed companion. Handing half of his granola bar to the bear had been an instinctual act born out of compassion, but it also ignited something much larger within him. Could he provide not just food but also love, warmth, and understanding to this wild creature? Seeking answers in the tranquility surrounding him, he inhaled deeply, savoring the fragrances of earth mingling with pine, a grounding reminder that life is interconnected and fragile. This realization sparked inspiration. What if he didn't see himself as imposing confinement upon the young bear, but rather offering a companionship as it healed? In that moment of clarity amid confusion, Jack felt certain that their paths had crossed for a reason. Resolved to open both his heart and home to the little creature beside him, Jack began envisioning all they could share, adventures exploring the woods together, quiet evenings sitting by the fire as if bridged between two worlds, the wild world and human world. Slowly started taking form in his mind. By embracing this opportunity to nurture another being, by choosing compassion, he realized he could create not just a safe space for the bear but also allow their lives together to flourish beyond what either had ever imagined possible. As Jack settled into life with the young bear, he quickly realized that the path ahead would not be as easy as he had hoped. While the excitement of their newfound bond filled him with warmth, the practicalities of caring for a wild creature began to loom large. The first challenge surfaced almost immediately after they arrived at his cabin. Jack had anticipated the bear might be wary, but the reality was more daunting than he imagined. The animal was not merely a playful companion, it was a young bear with needs beyond what he had prepared for. The first night was filled with tension as Jack tried to coax his new friend inside, but the bear remained hesitant to enter the unfamiliar space. Jack's cozy cabin, filled with wooden furniture and the scent of pine, felt foreign to the creature, and instinctively it preferred to stay outside under the night sky. Realizing that shelter was vital for both of them, Jack spent hours crafting a makeshift enclosure outside. He used sturdy wood panels and old fencing to create a safe area where the bear could feel secure while still being close to him. As he worked, doubts crept in. Was this enough? Would it ever feel comfortable in this new life? Jack understood that bears are naturally solitary animals who thrive in expansive environments, yet he wanted to offer safety and companionship without stifling its spirit. Once the bear finally relented and entered the enclosure with cautious steps, another challenge arose: nutrition and health care. Jack's knowledge of animal care primarily stemmed from his experiences with domestic pets. Bears needed specialized diets to flourish, high in protein and rich in fruits and vegetables. The next day, armed with online research and advice from local wildlife experts, he set off to gather supplies. Navigating through town, Jack felt a mix of apprehension and excitement as he talked to grocery store owners about sourcing fresh produce and meat suitable for his new friend. He learned about appropriate portion sizes and nutritional balances, information that felt overwhelming but essential for ensuring the bear's well-being. The first time he prepared a meal, a mix of berries, fish, and nuts, he watched closely as the young bear cautiously approached its food, sniffing before tentatively tasting each item. Relief washed over him when it eagerly devoured every morsel. However, nurturing a wild animal brought unexpected health concerns that compounded Jack's challenges. It became apparent early on that the bear bore injuries from its past entrapment. Scrapes on its paws and signs of malnutrition were evident. Jack sensed an urgency to tend to these issues properly, thus began a new routine of keeping an eye on any physical signs while doing research into wildlife care. With limited resources at hand, visits to wildlife rehabilitation centers became necessary. Jack found himself explaining his situation repeatedly, seeking advice on how best to care for this incredible creature now residing in his life. Each journey also bore an emotional weight. Leaving their haven meant stepping back into a world where people often viewed bears as dangerous intruders rather than sentient beings deserving of compassion. Every visit reinforced what Jack already understood, that this journey would require tremendous patience and dedication, not merely from him but also from his four-legged companion, who needed time to heal physically and emotionally from its recent traumas. As days turned into weeks, Jack found himself navigating these challenges with growing resolve. While each hurdle tested him, whether it was building stronger barriers for safety or managing dietary requirements, the love that had sparked between them served as a guiding light through uncertainty. With each small victory along their journey together, Jack remained steadfast in his belief that they could create something special amid life's chaos. A place where both would learn to thrive side by side as allies in a vast wilderness full of untold adventures waiting just beyond their doorstep. As the days turned into weeks, Jack's commitment to nurturing the young bear blossomed into a profound companionship that neither had anticipated. Every morning, he would rise early, driven by the promise of their shared day. As sunlight filtered through the treetops, casting dappled shadows across the ground, he would step outside to find his unlikely friend waiting expectantly at the enclosure, eyes bright with curiosity and trust. Feeding time became a cherished ritual that deepened their bond. Jack meticulously crafted meals tailored to the bear's needs. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and protein were served in an arrangement that resembled a colorful feast. Each time he approached with food, he felt the bear's growing anticipation. It would paw eagerly at the ground as if saying, "I'm ready." Jack marveled as he watched the bear devour its meals with enthusiasm, each bite echoing with the promise of health and recovery. One cool afternoon, filled with sunshine and laughter, Jack decided it was time to introduce some play into their lives. He gathered a selection of objects, old tires, wooden sticks, and a bright red ball, arranging them around their outdoor area. With playful encouragement lacing his voice, he tossed the ball a few feet away. To his delight, the bear instinctively lunged forward, clumsily batting it around before chasing it down with infectious energy. The sight of this wild creature joyfully engaging in play without hesitation was both heartwarming and reassuring for Jack. It signified trust blooming between them. As they continued to play day after day, Jack noticed how they communicated without words. The bear would respond to different whistles or calls he made. There was a mutual understanding that transcended human language, an unspoken agreement that deepened their reliance on one another. Each session left both feeling invigorated and connected. Laughter echoed through the forest as Jack delighted in watching the bear express its unique personality. With months passing since their fateful encounter in the woods, Jack saw an opportunity for training that could further solidify their relationship. Driven by compassion and goal-oriented resolve, he set out to teach basic commands, a challenge given that bears are not domesticated animals but instead creatures shaped by instincts alone. Starting gradually with simple commands like sit and stay, Jack employed positive reinforcement techniques inspired by the tips he had gleaned from wildlife experts. To his astonishment, patience paid off. The bear began to respond. At first hesitant but then more confident, it would sit for treats offered by Jack's outstretched hand. This transformation unfolded like a blossoming flower. What was once merely instinctual behavior became enhanced interactions between them built on respect and trust. However, while training fostered moments of joy and connection, it also served as a reminder of how wild instincts sometimes surfaced unpredictably, like when an unexpected noise startled them during a session one day. Initially worried that this might undo their progress, Jack observed as the bear instinctively looked up at him for reassurance instead of fleeing in panic. In that instant, recognition washed over him. They were now partners facing life's uncertainties together. As seasons changed in Maplewood, vibrant greens yielding to autumnal golds, their daily routines settled into rhythms punctuated by bursts of laughter and affection. Evenings spent sitting by a crackling fire highlighted playful antics from both sides. The bear would nuzzle against Jack while resting its head on his lap as they shared quiet moments beneath star-studded skies. Through feeding sessions filled with anticipation and playful exchanges igniting joy within both of them, Jack realized they were constructing not only survival but also an unconventional family bond against all odds. A testament to compassion surfacing from shared experiences amid uncertainty. Together they weathered each challenge and basked in camaraderie forged anew, a story unfolding on this wild journey neither could have imagined yet both embraced wholeheartedly every day ahead. As Jack's bond with the young bear grew stronger, the community of Maplewood began to take notice. News of the gentle carpenter's unusual companion traveled quickly, sparking a whirlwind of reactions among the townsfolk. Some residents expressed admiration for Jack's compassionate spirit and the extraordinary relationship he had forged with a wild animal. They marveled at the sight of the bear playfully interacting with Jack during afternoon strolls and shared meals, inspired by the tenderness between man and beast. However, not everyone viewed the situation through a lens of approval. Concerns about safety swirled in certain circles, with some locals voicing their worries about keeping a bear as a pet. "It's still a wild animal," exclaimed Helen, a longtime resident and mother of 3, during Tuesday's town meeting. Her voice was filled with apprehension as she recounted stories of encounters with bears in the wilderness, wondering if Jack was putting himself and others at risk by maintaining such a close relationship with an unpredictable creature. The mixed public reaction stirred up spirited debates around town. While supporters praised Jack for demonstrating that wild animals could be understood and cared for emotionally, deeming his efforts as groundbreaking for human-animal relationships, detractors raised alarm about possible consequences should the bear revert to instinctual behaviors rooted in its nature. Local wildlife officials received inquiries about whether it was legal or ethical to keep the bear at all. These discussions prompted inspections and assessments of Jack's living conditions for the bear. Jack was aware of the chatter but chose to focus on the love and friendship blossoming within his home rather than external judgments. Nevertheless, he sensed an underlying tension in the community that he hadn't anticipated. While he appreciated those who championed his cause, he felt equally compelled to reassure his worried neighbors that he was prioritizing safety and education throughout this journey. To address community concerns, Jack organized an open event at his cabin, an opportunity for locals to meet him and Bear, as he fondly named the young animal. He believed this would enable people to witness their bond firsthand while fostering understanding about responsible wildlife companionship. On a crisp autumn afternoon, families arrived in droves, curious expressions painted upon their faces as they approached his home nestled among trees. As Jack welcomed visitors with open arms, laughter filled the air when he showed them how Bear responded to basic commands. Kids giggled as Bear playfully positioned itself when called. Adults exchanged glances filled with awe and intrigue. The atmosphere shifted as skepticism began to dissolve into curiosity, a gradual understanding emerging amidst shared smiles. However, lingering questions remained unaddressed as parents kept a watchful eye on their children. Nearing dusk, as dusk descended rapidly over Maplewood and shadows lengthened under twilight skies, someone asked Jack what measures he would take should Bear grow beyond control or exhibit aggressive behavior. Although accustomed to worry surrounding animal behavior, these words struck deeper than he anticipated. Determined to defuse fears while remaining honest, Jack explained his ongoing commitment to training and handling challenges responsibly so long as Bear was under his care. He acknowledged that while wild instincts could resurface unpredictably, even despite their profound connection, it was crucial never to underestimate nature's unpredictable ways. The event closed with an informal promise between neighbors. Openness amidst uncertainty would help them navigate this extraordinary situation together. As visitors departed that day filled with mixed emotions of admiration coupled with reasonable cautionary tales not easily forgotten, a sense of unity emerged within Maplewood's close-knit community. With new awareness surrounding both human connections and animal instincts forming bridges across differing perspectives, the foundation was laid for what might become a fully integrated existence between Jack, Bear, and their treasured mountain home where adventure awaited beyond every turn in their journey together. As word of Jack's extraordinary relationship with the young bear spread beyond Maplewood, media outlets began to take notice. It started with a small local newspaper running a feature piece about the gentle carpenter and his unusual companion, which painted their story in a heartwarming light. Photographs of Jack and Bear playing together under the golden sun captivated readers, evoking smiles and admiration from those who came across it. The article positioned Jack as a local hero, emphasizing his compassion and dedication to nurturing a wild animal that most would consider untamable. However, the hum of excitement and admiration quickly escalated into a mix of positive and negative press as larger news organizations caught wind of the tale. A popular wildlife documentary crew descended upon Maplewood, seeking to capture the essence of their bond for a special segment. Jack felt both exhilarated and nervous. This was an opportunity to showcase the beauty of human-animal connections and advocate for responsible wildlife care on a grander scale. Yet, he was also keenly aware that such exposure could come with unexpected consequences. Interviews filled Jack's days as he discussed his journey with Bear, sharing insights into their daily routines and the challenges he'd faced while caring for a wild animal. As cameras rolled and microphones captured his every word, he stressed the importance of understanding the needs of wildlife and promoted awareness of choosing coexistence over fear. The bear seemed to sense the excitement surrounding them as it curiously explored its environment while being filmed, occasionally glancing toward Jack for reassurance. Nonetheless, not everyone responded positively to the growing media attention. Critics emerged alongside supporters, questioning the ethics of keeping a bear in captivity, even one that had been rescued. Online forums ignited debates about animal welfare, some proclaiming Jack's actions as bold and progressive while others branded him reckless and irresponsible. Those voices echoed warnings about potential dangers posed by domesticated wild animals, fueling fears that might undermine his message about compassion. The mixed publicity began to take a toll on Jack's life. While many in the community offered encouragement and congratulations, others changed their demeanor towards him, approaching him with cautious glances suffused with doubt. The swell of attention felt overwhelming at times. He was just a man trying to care for an animal that needed him. Amidst the turmoil, he could feel his introspection deepening. Determined to remain focused on nurturing Bear rather than getting caught in the whirlwind of public opinion, Jack sought solace in their shared routine. Yet it became increasingly difficult to avoid external pressures. Reporters staked out his cabin, waiting to capture any glimpse of their life together. He often had to shoo away cameras when Bear roamed freely in the backyard or attempted new commands, each moment misrepresented as either adorable or outrageous by different outlets. As discussions erupted around town and beyond regarding whether keeping Bear as a pet was ethical, Jack realized it had now turned into a movement more significant than merely his own journey. He became an unintended figurehead for a burgeoning cause, promoting understanding between humans and wildlife while navigating complexities inherent in such bonds. Despite the challenges brought on by media attention, moments with Bear remained radiant beacons amid chaos. Each gentle nuzzle or playful romp reaffirmed his chosen path. Jack hoped that through these mixed messages, both praise and criticism, the ultimate goal would be to enlighten others on understanding nature's creatures and showing compassion even when faced with uncertainty. With each passing day, he remained committed to nurturing not just Bear but also a community dialogue that valued empathy and coexistence over fear. A legacy he hoped to cultivate for generations to come as they continued their extraordinary journey together. As time passed, the young bear, affectionately named Bear by Jack, began to exhibit noticeable changes in behavior that reflected its evolving relationship with both Jack and its new environment. Initially skittish and cautious, Bear gradually transformed into a more playful and curious creature, exhibiting traits that endeared it to viewers and followers alike. One sunny afternoon showcased Bear's newfound confidence during a training session with Jack. With treats in hand, he called out playful commands, encouraging the bear to roll over and play dead. To Jack's delight, as Bear executed each command, tail wagging and eyes gleaming with excitement, it seemed more like a playful puppy than a wild animal. The sight drew laughter from the small group of neighbors gathered nearby, who had come to witness the extraordinary bond between man and beast. As Bear became increasingly comfortable in its surroundings, its playful antics grew more pronounced. One hilarious incident involved a rogue butterfly fluttering through their yard. Captivated by the delicate creature dancing on the breeze, Bear leaped into action in an endearing display of curiosity. It chased after the butterfly with clumsy enthusiasm, paws flailing and fur rippling in the wind. The scene quickly turned into a comedic performance that had Jack doubled over in laughter while filming the spectacle on his phone for social media followers who eagerly awaited updates. The bear's behavior also took on affectionate nuances. It began to nuzzle against Jack when he sat down to rest or read outdoors. These displays of affection marked blossoming trust that deepened their bond further. Each nuzzle was a reminder of how far they had come together, a wild creature learning to embrace companionship without fear. However, as Bear's domestication progressed, so did its spirited personality traits. Jack found himself navigating through bouts of spirited playfulness that sometimes led to mischievous escapades around the cabin. One day, after leaving an outdoor cooler unattended while preparing for dinner, Jack came back outside only to discover Bear joyfully rummaging through it and pulling out snacks with an unrepentant glint in its eyes. It was as if the bear were living out its own version of the great snack heist. Instead of feeling frustrated, Jack couldn't help but laugh at Bear's antics, an embodiment of childlike wonder and curiosity that made every day an adventure. Their daily interactions continued to evolve into playful games of tug-of-war with ropes or sticks carefully curated by Jack to ensure safety while still allowing for engaging activities. Each session revealed Bear's growing strength as it playfully tugged against Jack's resistance while rolling around in exuberance afterward, its spirit shining brightly against the backdrop of towering trees. Bear's evolution captivated not just those within Maplewood but also an ever-growing audience online as videos showcasing these moments went viral. Followers found joy in glimpses of their unique life together, the bear's eccentric habits drawing fans who celebrated every quirky expression and joyful leap made towards newfound freedom within Jack's loving care. Yet amidst all this joy came a reminder that Bear was still a wild animal at heart. Periodically, instinctual behaviors would emerge without warning, moments when Bear would become momentarily distracted by noises outside or scents carried through the air. During these instances, Jack remained vigilant yet calm. He understood that nurturing a wild spirit required recognizing both playfulness and instincts alike. Ultimately, Bear's transformation from a frightened stray to a cherished companion exemplified not just personal growth but also reflected how love can bridge divides between species when nurtured with patience and understanding. As their story continued unfolding publicly through social media channels filled with laughter and warmth, Jack knew they were building something beautiful together, a testament not just to friendship but also resilience amid life's unpredictable journey. One bright morning, just as Jack was pouring his coffee and enjoying the tranquility of the forest, a sudden commotion shattered the calm. Bear, who had been frolicking in the yard moments earlier, bolted toward the tree line with such speed that Jack barely had time to register what was happening. The bear's instinctual response was triggered by a rustle in the brush, a sound that echoed with wild potential. Jack's heart raced as he quickly set down his cup and followed. He called out for Bear, his voice tinged with both urgency and concern, but the young bear had already disappeared into the thickets like a shadow summoned by unseen forces. As Jack reached the edge of the clearing, he spotted Bear confronting a deer that had wandered too close to their territory. In that pivotal moment, Jack felt an unsettling chill wash over him. This was not just a playful chase. It was a stark reminder of Bear's wild instincts surging back to the forefront. The excitement in Bear's eyes shifted from curiosity to focused intent. It was instinctive, predatory behavior honed by nature, revealing itself beneath the layers of domestication Jack had worked so hard to cultivate. Jack watched helplessly as his once timid companion transformed into a creature driven by primal urges. The deer, startled and vulnerable, skittered away, but Bear charged after it, the thrill of the chase igniting within him like a fierce wildfire. Jack's instincts kicked in. He shouted louder now, fear gripping him as he weighed the consequences of this sudden turn. "Bear, come back!" His voice echoed through the trees, filled with an urgency that hinted at both panic and desperation. Yet it only seemed to spur Bear on, There was no stopping now. They were immersed in a game far removed from any training or affection they had shared. The chase ended abruptly when Bear paused, realizing its target was lost among the trees. Jack breathed a sigh of relief mixed with trepidation as Bear returned to him slowly, panting and clearly exhilarated, but also displaying signs of confusion over what had just unfolded. In that moment of reunion, Jack noticed something shift. There was a glint in Bear's eyes now that hadn't been there before. It felt different, as if an invisible line had been crossed. Once they were back at their cabin, uncertainty settled in between them like fog rolling over morning hills. The playful antics that had previously characterized their bond felt overshadowed by this encounter. Had he really been cultivating companionship with a wild animal? The question loomed large in Jack's mind, a weight he couldn't easily dismiss. Bear paced around their outdoor space restlessly, as if still caught up in remnants of adrenaline-fueled excitement, while Jack sat upon his cabin steps feeling conflicted. Through each playful nuzzle and clumsy leap across the yard in previous days suddenly felt different now, as their bond began to teeter on an unfathomable edge brought on by fearsome wild instincts rising anew. Jack knew he would need to reassess how he approached this journey moving forward, not just for Bear's sake, but also for his own understanding of what it meant to share life with such an unpredictable creature. This turning point called into question all that had transpired, the love they nurtured intertwining with nature's relentless truths lurking beneath even softest fur. As days passed following that incident, Jack found himself observing Bear with renewed vigilance, recognizing both affection and ferocity twinkling within those curious eyes. He realized more than ever that while nurturing this bond was vital for both their happiness, freedom meant allowing wildness its rightful place alongside love. A challenging dance between trust and caution ensued. Bearing witness to Bear's evolving nature would require reconciling emotions tied up in care while recognizing elements of instinct could never be subdued entirely. A duality reminding him daily about life's complexities where joy intertwined with unpredictability, a lesson unfolding deeply intertwined in their lives amidst tall pines whispering secrets only nature could tell. As word of Jack's unique bond with Bear continued to attract media attention, the dynamics in Maplewood shifted even further. With increasing public interest came local residents who stepped up to engage in both supportive and opposing roles. Community involvement blossomed as people began voicing their opinions, raising questions about the implications of keeping a bear in a residential setting and its impact on wildlife conservation efforts. On one hand, many residents rallied around Jack, inspired by his dedication to nurturing an animal that most would have deemed a threat. Families with children often arrived at his cabin, eager to catch a glimpse of Bear or even participate in feeding sessions. They brought organic snacks and encouraged their kids to learn about wildlife care and respect for nature. Parents appreciated the educational aspect of Jack's endeavor. For them, it was not only about witnessing the bond between man and beast, but also understanding how coexisting with wildlife can enrich human lives. However, while some voiced admiration for Jack's commitment to Bear, others remained deeply concerned about the safety and ethics behind his actions. During town hall meetings, discussions turned heated as opponents raised questions regarding the potential dangers posed by having a bear so close to homes, especially families with young children. What happens if it grows aggressive? What if it encounters another bear? Were common refrains voiced among skeptics. These concerns pressed hard against the joyful narrative that had begun to surround Jack and Bear's story. Critics argued that despite Bear's playful demeanor, he was still a wild animal responding to instincts shaped by generations. Some residents even called for intervention from wildlife authorities who could better regulate such situations, fearing that an incident akin to what happened with the deer could lead down a dangerous path. In response to escalating tensions within Maplewood, Jack organized open discussions centered on responsible wildlife conservation practices. Attended by wildlife experts who shared insights on animal behavior and habitat needs without compromising safety protocols, these meetings created opportunities for understanding and transparency within the community. Jack emphasized how important it was for him, and perhaps all of Maplewood, to strike a balance between wilderness appreciation and ensuring children's safety. As if in perfect timing with these educational efforts, neighboring towns began reaching out after hearing about Jack's experiences through media coverage. They expressed interest in collaborating on awareness campaigns aimed at conservation reform and humane treatment of local wildlife. Their enthusiasm indicated that they saw broader value in what Jack had undertaken, an opportunity not just for Maplewood but also surrounding areas to unite for compassionate wildlife coexistence. Social media platforms buzzed with conversations focusing on Jack's journey, a blend of awe at the evolving relationship he built with Bear and deeper discussions surrounding ethics and animal care. This initiated calls for community involvement in broader conservation initiatives across the state. Followers began sharing stories about their own encounters, both positive and challenging, with wildlife, providing a platform for shared experiences that echoed Jack's own journey. Through collaborative efforts forged from both conflict and support, voices demanding accountability alongside compassion resonated powerfully throughout Maplewood's fabric, fostering discussions around how best to appreciate nature's complexity. Jack found himself propelled into an unexpected role, not merely as a caregiver but as an ambassador for coexistence between humans and wildlife, a journey shaped by collective concern rather than individual struggles alone. As community members grappled with their fears while also embracing new understandings, a path emerged forward filled with possibility. The hope to create safer havens where humans could live harmoniously alongside nature would now become one of their unified goals, moving forward together amidst hope shining brightly beneath starlit skies above their cherished home. Amidst the heated discussions in Maplewood regarding Jack's relationship with Bear, wildlife experts were invited to shed light on the intricacies of human-animal relationships and the risks associated with domestication. These professionals brought a wealth of knowledge and experience, providing a balanced perspective that resonated with both supporters and skeptics alike. Dr. Emily Carter, a renowned wildlife biologist with decades of fieldwork focusing on bear behavior, was one such voice. During a community meeting organized by Jack, she stepped forward to share her insights. With an air of authority and compassion, she addressed the crowd, speaking directly to their fears and curiosity. "It's important to remember that bears are wild animals," she began, her tone firm yet approachable. "While they can form bonds with humans, we must respect their nature and understand the impulse driving their behavior." Dr. Carter elaborated on the complexities of domestication versus companionship. "What Jack has done is admirable. He's essentially given Bear a second chance at life," she noted, encouraging the audience to appreciate Jack's dedication. However, it's essential to recognize that domestication is not just about love. It involves changing an animal's fundamental instincts over generations. She stressed that no matter how affectionate or playful Bear had become, deep-seated wild instincts could resurface at any moment. This perspective struck a chord with many residents who had been critical of Jack's choices. It prompted them to consider the nuances surrounding their interactions with wildlife, challenging preconceptions that framed Bear as merely a pet rather than a creature inherent with natural instincts shaped by evolution. Another expert present was Dr. Samuel Lee, a wildlife veterinarian specializing in animal behavior rehabilitation. He added his voice to the discussion by emphasizing the importance of understanding animal psyche and managing both care and responsibility when dealing with wildlife. "Jack has certainly cultivated an extraordinary bond," he acknowledged with respect for Jack's efforts. "However, maintaining this relationship means ensuring safety, not just for Bear but for those in proximity." Dr. Lee suggested implementing structured training sessions and introducing controlled interactions as ways to respect Bear's boundaries while reducing risks. He offered practical solutions based on observations from similar cases across various wildlife rehabilitation scenarios. Community members listened intently as these experts shared stories from their own experiences working with rescued animals, encounters that highlighted both successes and challenges faced while bridging gaps between wildness and human companionship. As discussions progressed, residents began contemplating broader implications for wildlife conservation within their region. Questions emerged about enriching local habitats for wild animals while promoting safety measures for human residents, a realization that perhaps coexisting peacefully would necessitate collective efforts beyond just one individual's journey. The presence of these experts fostered an environment where dialogue flourished rather than stagnated in fear or condemnation. People started brainstorming ideas about workshops focused on wildlife education aimed at fostering coexistence within Maplewood itself. With engagement from passionate experts alongside community input, hope soared toward creating programs designed not only to educate families about respecting local ecosystems but also advocating for responsible wildlife interactions overall, effectively turning apprehension into proactive initiatives promoting awareness instead. As tensions eased amid informed conversations spearheaded by knowledgeable voices like Dr. Carter and Dr. Lee, Jack found renewed hope regarding both his journey with Bear and the potential path forward for all those involved in Maplewood's evolving story. a narrative focused now not simply on love, but also respect rooted firmly in understanding each other's roles alongside nature where friendships thrived amidst its wild beauty. As Jack sat on the porch of his cabin, watching Bear playfully roll in the grass, he felt a familiar tension swell within him, a constant tug-of-war between his desire for closeness and the undeniable reality of Bear's wild nature. The joyful laughter from nearby families who had come to visit echoed in his ears, reminding him of the admiration and support he had received from his community. Yet, beneath that surface lay an undercurrent of unease that Jack couldn't shake. After the incident with the deer, Jack found himself wrestling with feelings of guilt and responsibility. That morning's events had been eye-opening. Despite all their shared moments, Bear was not just a pet or a playful companion. He was a wild animal, instinctively driven by the urges embedded within him. Jack acknowledged that every joyful nuzzle and playful leap could be shadowed by those primal instincts if not handled with caution. The joy of companionship was tinged with fear as Jack contemplated what it meant to love an animal so inherently unpredictable. What if I can't protect those around me? He pondered quietly, staring into his coffee cup as if seeking answers at the bottom. He thought about children running through his yard, laughter mingling with carefree innocence, a stark contrast to Bear's wild impulses lurking just beneath the surface. Jack knew he had taken on a monumental task, one that required not only affection but also an unwavering commitment to safety. As he gazed at Bear romping carefreely in the grass, Jack couldn't help but feel torn. Part of him longed for endless moments filled with laughter and warmth, while another part whispered warnings about what could happen if he let his guard down. The community's involvement only deepened his internal conflict. While many praised him for providing Bear with care and companionship, there were also persistent whispers questioning whether keeping a bear so close to human activity was ethical or safe. Each time Jack heard someone voice their concerns, whether they were friends or neighbors, he felt that familiar weight settle heavily upon him once more. What if they were right? What if his love for Bear ultimately led to danger? He began to realize that this journey would demand more than just nurturing. It required a profound understanding of boundaries and instincts, not just for Bear but for himself as well. The lessons from wildlife experts echoed in his mind. Kindness alone would not suffice to ensure coexistence and safety. Thus began Jack's quest for balance. He resolved to educate himself further about wildlife behavior while embracing all aspects of Bear's identity. Every day presented new opportunities for growth. Training sessions became as much about instilling boundaries as nurturing trust. With each command learned and every cautious interaction marked by respect for Bear's instincts, Jack found glimmers of hope amidst uncertainty. Yet even with this newfound resolve, pangs of doubt still surfaced during quiet moments alone with Bear. Was it fair to expect a wild creature like Bear to conform entirely to human expectations? Would their bond withstand the inherent differences between species? These questions weighed heavily on him as he navigated both companionship and caution, a duality central to living alongside an animal shaped by untamed spirit. Through this internal struggle emerged a deeper understanding. Love intertwined with responsibility defined their journey together, a delicate dance between affection and awareness where joy mingled closely with respect for nature's unpredictability. As days turned into weeks filled with shared experiences marred by occasional fears, their relationship evolved into one grounded in both genuine companionship and profound respect for boundaries. With every decision made, not only out of love but also steeped in wisdom drawn from experience, Jack found purpose in navigating this complex path alongside Bear. A journey marked by resilience amid uncertainty where both man and beast would learn together how best to thrive amidst nature's beauty. As Jack sat on the porch, watching Bear frolic in the sunlight, he felt a storm of emotions brewing within him. The recent incident with the deer had forced him to confront the reality that their relationship was perched precariously between companionship and the wild instincts that Bear could not suppress. Now, he faced a pivotal moment, a choice that would determine not just Bear's future, but also the safety and well-being of everyone in his community. With each passing day, Jack found himself contemplating what it truly meant to care for a wild animal. He had initially believed that love and nurturing could create an unbreakable bond, one that transcended instinctual behaviors. Yet as he observed Bear chasing after butterflies or tumbling playfully in the grass, memories of the deer's frightened flight haunted him. What if that playful demeanor turned into something more dangerous? What if Jack's affection inadvertently endangered others? Jack's mind drifted back to discussions with wildlife experts who had visited Maplewood. Dr. Emily Carter's voice echoed in his thoughts. Bears are wild animals. We must respect their nature. He recalled her warnings about how easily instincts could resurface, regardless of how domesticated Bear had become in his care. The tension between love for Bear and responsibility to nature weighed heavily on him as he considered what might come next. Then there were the opinions of his neighbors, some supportive and others fearful. He could sense the scrutiny every time families came to visit or walked by his cabin with children in tow. While many admired his unique bond with Bear, whispers grew louder about safety concerns. Jack felt himself at a crossroads. Should he continue to keep Bear close, or consider finding a sanctuary where it could thrive away from human interference? The thought of relinquishing Bear sent waves of panic through him. He had poured so much love and effort into their relationship. To let go would mean tearing apart what he had nurtured, a bond forged in shared experiences and silent understanding. Yet, as a responsible caretaker, could he justify keeping Bear if it posed risks to others? One evening, as dusk painted the sky in shades of purple and orange, Jack made his way into the woods where he first discovered Bear. Retracing steps along familiar paths filled him with nostalgia, but this time his heart was heavy with uncertainty. He wandered deeper into nature's embrace until he reached the clearing where they had first met. There, beneath an ancient oak tree, he sat down to reflect. In this serene moment surrounded by nature's beauty, Jack realized that love must also encompass wisdom, and understanding that true compassion includes recognizing when letting go might be for the best. Yet that understanding clashed violently with his desire to protect and nurture what felt like family. As twilight deepened around him, Jack weighed his options carefully. He envisioned a future where Bear could roam freely within its natural habitat, a place where instincts guided its ways rather than human expectations confining it within walls. Could he really be brave enough to take that step? To give up not just companionship but also the life they had crafted together? The decision loomed ahead like an approaching storm. It promised transformation but threatened heartache as well. Torn between two worlds, the wild spirit inside Bear and the deep connection they shared, Jack understood that this moment would define not only their lives but also highlight what it meant to embrace both love and responsibility. As night fell softly around him, Jack took a deep breath. Clarity began to wash over him amidst uncertainty. Whatever choice lay ahead would require courage, not just for himself, but for Bear too, a chance, perhaps, to find true freedom together even if it meant stepping onto paths unknown where nature reigned free once more. After days of wrestling with his emotions and reflecting on the community's concerns, Jack finally made the heart-wrenching decision to seek a sanctuary for Bear. He believed this choice would not only ensure Bear's safety, but also protect the families in Maplewood who had grown fond of him. As he prepared for this monumental step, he felt a mix of relief and profound sadness. Letting go of Bear felt like tearing apart a piece of his own heart. Jack spent hours researching wildlife sanctuaries that specialized in rehabilitating bears and providing them with natural habitats where they could thrive. He found a reputable facility several hours away, nestled deep within a forest that mirrored the wild environment Bear was meant for. The thought of Bear roaming freely among trees, streams, and fellow bears brought him solace, yet it didn't diminish the weight of his decision. On the day he was set to take Bear to the sanctuary, Jack awoke early, his heart heavy but determined. He prepared a special breakfast for Bear, his favorite fruits mixed with nuts, and watched as the bear devoured the meal with exuberance. In those moments, Jack cherished every playful nuzzle and every curious glance. These interactions served as bittersweet reminders of their bond. As they loaded up into Jack's truck for the journey, he felt an overwhelming rush of memories flood his mind. Their first encounter in the woods, the laughter shared during playtime, and even those quiet evenings by the fire. Each moment was etched in his heart like a cherished photograph. Yet looming over him was a nagging uncertainty. Had he made the right choice? The drive felt interminable as apprehension settled in. Jack took one last glimpse in the rearview mirror at Bear, now resting comfortably in the back seat, breathing softly, but within those innocent eyes lay an unspoken question. Where are we going? The thought twisted at Jack's insides. Upon arriving at the sanctuary, Jack was greeted by friendly staff who welcomed him with open arms and assured him that they would provide Bear with everything needed for a healthy and fulfilling life. They explained how important it was for animals like Bear to live free from human interference while still having access to care when necessary. Their comforting words eased some of Jack's worries but could not fully quell his heartache. As he led Bear out of the truck and into a spacious enclosure filled with trees, rocks, and flowing water, Jack paused to absorb every detail. It felt surreal. He was about to release his companion into this vast expanse where instincts would reign supreme once again. Just as he set Bear down on its paws, something unexpected happened. The bear looked back at Jack with an intensity that pierced through him. For a split second, time stood still. It was as if they were sharing an understanding beyond words, a silent acknowledgement that they had each played crucial roles in each other's journeys. Jack brushed away tears as he knelt down beside Bear one last time and whispered words of encouragement. "You deserve this freedom." In an instant that felt both fleeting and eternal, Bear bounded into its new environment, sniffing at grass, exploring fallen branches, and then disappeared among towering trees. That image crystallized in Jack's mind, his bear reclaiming its wild spirit amidst nature's embrace. Driving home felt emptier than ever before. While he honored his commitment to nature's balance through this act of love, something profound shifted within him, a sense of loss mingled with hope for what lay ahead. It became clear that true love sometimes meant making difficult choices for another's well-being. As days passed after their farewell, Jack found solace in knowing that he had given Bear a chance to thrive as nature intended. A bittersweet twist in their story that allowed both man and beast to navigate paths filled with resilience amid life's unpredictable journey moving forward. In the days following Bear's departure to the sanctuary, Jack found himself enveloped in deep reflection. Sitting on his porch, he looked out at the vast expanse of wilderness that had once felt so full of promise, but now seemed achingly empty without Bear's playful presence. The laughter of children playing nearby merely served as a reminder of what he had sacrificed for the greater good, his heart heavy with both loss and newfound understanding. As he sipped his morning coffee, Jack pondered the lessons learned throughout their extraordinary journey together. His bond with Bear had been unique and beautiful, filled with moments of joy and shared discovery. Yet it also illuminated the complexities inherent in human-animal relationships, an interplay between love, responsibility, and respect for nature. He realized that genuine compassion often demands difficult choices. True love sometimes requires letting go to ensure an animal's well-being. Jack reflected on how their time together had transformed his perspective on wildlife. Initially drawn to Bear out of a desire to nurture and protect, he soon understood that these instincts could not overshadow nature's fundamental truths. He learned that wild animals possess their own identities shaped by instincts honed over generations, a reality that ultimately guided his decision to seek a sanctuary for Bear rather than keep him confined close to home. The community's mixed reactions had forced Jack to confront uncomfortable questions about ethics and safety, pushing him to educate himself far beyond what he initially understood about wildlife behavior. With each conversation held with experts like Dr. Emily Carter and Dr. Samuel Lee, Jack began appreciating the intricate balance required for coexisting with nature. They all underscored the importance of recognizing boundaries, not just for human safety, but also for honoring an animal's intrinsic wildness. In many ways, this experience became a catalyst for personal growth. Jack embraced the idea that empathy extends beyond sentimental feelings. It embodies action grounded in awareness and understanding of nature's complexities. He thought about how kindness towards wildlife must be paired with sincere respect for their instincts, a lesson deeply etched into his heart after sharing life with Bear. Despite the sorrow of saying goodbye, Jack felt a sense of peace knowing he had given Bear a chance at true freedom, an opportunity to thrive among fellow bears in an environment tailored to their needs. As he sat beneath the old oak tree they used to frequent together, he envisioned Bear exploring open fields and climbing trees where it belonged, all while relishing unrestricted movement away from confinement. With every passing day, Jack found strength in remembering the bond they shared, not merely as a man and bear, but as two beings whose lives crossed through serendipity. Their connection taught him invaluable lessons about trust, vulnerability, and respect, all themes applicable not only in relationships with animals but with people as well. Now standing at this crossroads filled with bittersweet reflections, Jack committed himself further not just to personal growth but also to advocacy within Maplewood. Inspired by his journey with Bear, he began working on initiatives aimed at educating others about wildlife conservation and responsible interactions, bringing forth discussions on coexistence rooted firmly in empathy rather than fear. As seasons changed around him, leaves turning brilliant shades of red and gold, Jack decided that this chapter was merely one part of a larger story encompassing love, loss, and growth amidst nature's endless beauty. Embracing each twist along life's unpredictable path would allow him not only to honor Bear's legacy but also continue fostering compassion within himself and throughout his community as they navigated these intricate relationships intertwined with the wild spirit present all around them.